What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Hamilton Trained Podcast. My name is Jared Hamilton, and welcome back to the show. Now, I apologize, this episode is taking a little bit longer to get out. I had some technical errors on my end, and I messed up a whole bunch of the audio, so sorry, David. But otherwise, we got it coming to you now, and I'm so excited for you to listen to it, because today's episode, what's going to happen is you're going to get a look inside what a coaching experience with us looks like, and hear from an actual person who's gone through it, how you can come out of this on the other side. Because here's the truth. When it comes to this fitness and weight loss game and transformation and ending big stuff like yo-yo dieting, sabotage, and emotional eating and things like that, a lot of people will look at other success stories and be like, oh, but that's them. Or you'll hear someone like me, a coach, saying, hey, look, this is what you can do too. And it's but you're a coach. You're supposed to say that. So you have to understand that, I want you to know that you can do this too. And that's why I had my client Ashely come on. She's been on the podcast actually before, but I wanted her to come on it again because she's even in a more different place than she was last time. Before Ashely started coaching with us, she'll tell her story, things were bad. But then the last time I had her on the podcast, she's a different human. Now, this time she's even a different human, again, with all of her progress she's made. But not just externally, her external progress is crazy. She's lost a bunch of weight. Inches are totally gone. She's wearing clothes that she hasn't fit into in years. But I'm more proud about her mental transformation and her headspace and how she handles her emotions and thoughts and triggers and things like that. So that's what I'm really excited to have her talk about, to show you that you can do this too, and there's no reason that you can't. And that way we can get you on a better road as well. So I won't take all the time with this intro. I want her to tell her story. So let me grab her. But before we do, I want to have a big thank you to the sponsors of the show. Sponsor number one is FlexPro. Guys, I talk about it every episode because it's a big deal. And I actually don't have to talk about it as much as I do. But I'm telling you, with FlexPro specifically, they have been a game changer with my day-to-day. My life is predicated all off convenience. My life has stuff that with my day-to-day is unexpected. I don't know what's going to happen. I might have planned something and something totally different comes up, especially with these past couple of months. We've been selling our house and buying a new house, and I've been crazy with new businessy stuff. I'm hiring more people, and things are just bonkers. So there's been a lot of times I would go through a drive-through or things like that where it's just oh, whoops, we didn't make enough food, or I'm busy, I don't have time to go make a bunch of food. So it's been a game changer for those times. It's one of those things, just having them in your fridge as on deck kind of thing can be a game changer, just because our life is predicated on convenience. But when you do this, it's going to be cheaper than a drive-through. It's going to be lower calorie, higher protein. You're going to feel better, and they taste amazing. So I'll leave their info below, but you can just go to flexpromeals.com. But I want to save you money. So if you go and buy anything, check out their menu. It's stupid what they have available. If you buy anything, use my code Hamilton Trained, because not only does it support me, but it also will save you 20%. But then also, I want to have another big thank you to First Form. Guys, First Form is one of my favorite companies on the planet. And I would say that whether they were sponsoring me or not, because First Form, when it comes to just the way they run any business, the way they help people, then when it comes down to actual their products and their stuff, you can't really get better. You know what I mean? Everything from how it's made, to the studies being done, to just the quality of the products itself is on another level. So that's why I partnered with them, and why they sponsor myself in the show is so we can make sure you guys are getting taken care of. So anything supplement related, I'm telling you, if you take anything, go check out First Form's version of it. If you take protein powder, go check out Level 1. If you take a fish oil, go check out their fish oil, because I'm telling you, it's on another level, and it's so much better, and it's than most of all this other stuff that most people are taking. And just because the supplement industry, guys, is incredibly unregulated, it doesn't have to be contrary to what people think, it doesn't have to be FDA approved. A lot of shady stuff happens underneath the covers in the supplement world, with a lot of stuff most people take and whatnot. So that's why First Form is a game changer with their stuff. But I have a free priority shipping link below in the notes of the podcast notes, or the YouTube video, whichever platform you're watching this on. So definitely go check out that. And then thirdly, if you're not watching this on YouTube, go check this out on YouTube, because now I'm uploading all podcast episodes that I'm filming to YouTube. That way, instead of just listening, you can watch them as well. So I hope you stick around for the whole episode. Let me grab Ashely, and I will talk to you soon. How are you? How are things?
Pretty good.
Nice.
Things are good.
Nice.
Too much snow.
We didn't get any, like literally we didn't get any snow, and I am so shitty about it. Like we're probably not going to get any till like March if I'm being totally honest. It's just fucking dumb.
The on either side of my driveway, it's going to be probably close to as tall as me here soon. So
No, it's
yeah,
going to be like you're going to get 5 feet of snow.
On either side of my driveway after shoveling, yeah.
Oh my
I've got probably
gosh.
2.5 feet in my backyard right now.
Holy fuck. You damn Canadians, man. I don't know.
I know.
I love it.
I shoveled this morning and there was like 2 inches of snow, and I probably have to go back out in a little bit.
Good thing you got your shit together this past year. Fuck.
I know.
What would old Ashely have done with all of that?
Well, I would have shoveled, but I would have been pissed off about it. Way more work.
You would have been like, well, I'm done for the day. So that's funny.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thanks for doing this. I know it's kind of out of nowhere, but because basically what I wanted to do is, I know, for those listening, because I already have the recording on, is like we've done an episode before, but it's been a minute, and it's
almost been a year to the date.
Yeah, crazy. But just so many things have happened, and you've come so far with all your stuff. And I just think it'd be a good opportunity to use it as a teaching moment, and stuff. Just because when I tell someone they can do something, like it's like, your parents telling you look nice. It's like, they're supposed to say that. But when it's like, oh shit, she's exactly in my situation and it's just the same as this. Okay, that's pretty believable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for those that may not have listened to the episode prior, I don't even know what number it is, but talk about kind of your story a little bit, like, like where you were before coaching and before we did anything, and your story.
I was pretty miserable. There was like a lot of different levels where I was unhappy relationship wise, the way I looked at myself, the way I hadn't dealt with anything, like a lot of emotional things that had happened throughout my life. I just never dealt with anything. And I was probably one of the heaviest I'd ever been. And I hated looking at myself in the mirror. I couldn't think of anything I liked about myself. And yeah, I found you on TikTok and everything made sense.
I love it. Yeah. You were upwards of like 220. If I remember right.
No, I was at about 206 when I first started.
Was it 206? Yeah. I don't know what I'm thinking.
And then when I started with you, like coaching, I think I was like 194, 196, somewhere in there.
Okay, then I don't know where. I haven't like scrolled to the top of your chart in a minute. I don't know where then 220 came from. Like, fuck me. But no, like it's been crazy. Like if we look back at all your stuff, not just like your weight, your measurements, and your pictures, but like you as it's hard to put, like, you as a person has changed so much, because that's the goal, right? Like most people, when they go to lose weight, they don't realize it's I always say, if you stay the same person and just lose weight, you're doing it wrong. You have to change like your character and who you are as a person. So like, talk about that a little bit. Like, what about you as a person changed so much? Because that's what's allowed everything to be so drastic.
I don't know. I'm super positive now. I am not nearly as negative as I used to be. I deal with all my emotions like now. I journal every day. Like, that was game changer. I started going to therapy. I haven't gone in a long time though, but I have things covered. Like,
I love that.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I always say people get into the realm, all this stuff with like the intention of like, I'm going to lose a bunch of weight, but then like all this other crazy shit happens. It's like the gateway. So within that, with like, because whenever generally like when someone's newer to like my content and stuff, and we're talking and I'm like talking about doing journaling and inner work, and they're like, what the fuck does this have to do with me trying to like not be able to lose 30 pounds? Like, so for you, was there a disconnect at first whenever I'm like, yeah, you need a journal and shit? Like, were you like, all right, this motherfucker's crazy, but I'm going to give it a shot? Was there any like disconnect at all?
A little bit, but I was just like, I was at the point where I would do anything. Like, I fully trusted you right off the hop. So I was just ready to just do what I needed to do, because obviously what I was doing wasn't working.
Sure.
Like, working my face into the ground, I did stairs like a crazy person. I would be doing stairs outside right now. a year and a half ago. Like, I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
And it's just like, the journaling was a game changer. Doing the inner work, I just figured nothing else that I've done was working. So
right. Now, for you, when it came to like the inner work as it applied to weight loss, like with like journaling and meditating and handling your emotions and triggers and stuff, was it like for you like a big difference maker, or was it like it really didn't feel like it did a whole lot until like compounded a little bit?
Um, I noticed a change fairly quickly. Like if I was sitting around and I was wanting to bored eat or emotionally eat, I would be like, no, maybe I should go journal. This is where I should probably be journaling. So I would go and write down a few things about how I was feeling. And I noticed like it was a huge relief, like a weight lifted off my shoulders. It was huge right off the hop.
I love that. I love that. So like fast forward to where things are at now, like would you say things are like totally 180 or like where are things at in your life now?
Oh, it's 100% 180. Yeah.
I
Like
love that.
honestly, I used to write page upon page upon page upon page in my journal. And now it's like, I don't know, half a page because everything's under control.
Yeah. I always word it like going to the bathroom. Like if you like only take a shit like once a week, it's going to be really bad. Right. Versus
Yeah.
like if once you're regular, it's like not that big of a deal. I know it's fucking disgusting.
No, it's true though. Like everybody can relate to a poop analogy.
Right? A good poop analogy changes everybody. No, I love that. So now for you though, how much like prior before your stuff changed was all of this affecting like all these other areas in your life? Like you said, it changed like your marriage, your work,
yeah,
friendships. Like,
yeah, it changed how I approach things with my husband. It changed how I approach things at work. Like my emotions were out of control. Like I would go from 0 to 60 in like a snap of a finger.
Like angry?
Like, it was ridiculous. Oh yeah. And
I can't picture you pissed.
To the max.
I literally can't picture you pissed. Like,
what did we used to say in my family? You'll know it when I'm yelling, like raising your voice. Yeah. Like I'm not yelling at you. You'll know it when I'm yelling.
That's funny. That's hilarious. People like see my dogs because like I have like 3 big dogs and people will see them like they'll be over at the house, will be playing and they're like, aren't they fighting? I go, oh, you'll know it if they're fighting. That is just rough play. Like, yeah. Actually, what's funny is I felt it was the duration was so long. Like I felt like it would be just awkward replying to it. So I don't think I ever did. I found an old message from your husband on my Twitter. Did I ever tell you about that?
Oh, weird.
Yeah. He basically messaged me thanking me like, hey, it's made such a difference and all this stuff. And it was really sweet, but like, I don't check Twitter DMs and I forget they exist. And it's an old message from your husband. I just thought, I don't think I ever told you.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. That's funny. That's super cool. So like, as far as like for people listening to this now, like, because the reality is most people listening are where you were, right? Like all their life is just terrible. They've been trying for how long were you trying to do all this? Like before?
Like 10 years.
Yeah. Like a decade, like dieting for a decade. And that's so like for you, like how to put, you wouldn't have been ready for what like what we're doing now. And like what we have done, you wouldn't have been ready. Like prior to that, like a few years ago, right? So like,
oh no, like I was definitely a rock bottom.
Yeah,
like, everything was shitty.
So like, what was for you? What was the like, fuck that I just have to get help? Like, where was that moment at?
Like I just was so miserable and I could never see anything positive. Like everything just felt shitty all the time.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even look at myself.
Yeah. It was just for more than just trying to lose weight. It was like total self-deprecation. And
yeah, for sure it was. Like I couldn't even stand the person I was.
Yeah.
That's horrible to say, but It's true.
But like, and that's the thing though, if we would have just thrown weight loss on top of it, like it wouldn't have, it wouldn't have, if we kept that identity there of like everything came out of the place of I hate myself and just threw weight loss on top of it, it'd be like giving $1 million to someone who like a homeless person, right? Like it's a whole different, it's why most people who are broke win the lottery, they're broke a year later. So like for you though, where did the inner game start to change where you were from like sabotaging, self-deprecating, food relationships, hiding your emotions with food? Like where did all of that start to shift? I know, but like no one else does.
Probably like I want to say November, December of 2020. It was probably about 3 months in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just, yeah, it was just like things just started to change. I started feeling better. I started dealing with things that I hadn't ever dealt with.
Yeah.
And it just, everything just snowballed.
I love that. Well, there was even like a period of time where you were really dealing with a lot of like outside of fitnessy stuff, like the stuff like with childhood stuff and life and COVID and a lot, but because of the coping mechanism differences, you were able to heal through that very beautifully, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it was tough. Like that, there was stuff from like my childhood, like my parents' divorce, like when I was like a teenager that I had never dealt with, but I had covered up with food or whatever, right? So
yeah,
throughout all of this, I actually dealt with a whole ton of self healing stuff.
I love that. That's such a big deal. What's your therapist think of all this? Like, does she like? Because I'm sure your therapist knew you prior to this, right?
Yeah, a little bit. I had gone to her a couple times earlier in 2020. And then, I don't know, I just kind of, COVID happened and then everything kind of just.
Yeah, for sure.
Went to shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was actually really surprised to hear from me in like October or November of 2020. And she had seen a huge change in me right away. Like, I love that. She could see it just like, because all we did was video conferences. So she said she could see a massive change even just through video. So
I love that so much. Did any of this surprise you? Like,
oh yeah, I never in a million years thought I'd be taking it all the way back to childhood and dealing with things that I've never dealt with.
Yeah. As far as like from the weight loss side of things, like, do you feel like things are like easy right now or like hard?
It's super easy. By the way, I took my calories down, just so you know.
Did you? You hate your fucking maintenance periods. I know it.
I'm done. I did 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Well, even when we put you through maintenance, like, you're getting full as fuck. You're like, it's uncomfortable. Like, yeah. But again, like you would never say that like prior, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's hilarious.
The first time we did 6 weeks of maintenance, I was like a bit of a wreck the whole time.
You had like, actually, so right out the gate, I remember, this isn't even in my notes, but like, right. I remember when we first went to a maintenance period, you were freaking the fuck out.
Oh, I hated it. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah. You were like, well, and then I remembered I asked you one question that I think solidified it all. Cause you were terrified. You were like, cause I had to cause normally I would do maintenance way before we did it, but you were just crushing it effortlessly crushing it. So we implemented it. And I'm like, hey, we need to go through maintenance because like your effects of dieting are happening. Like I think your metabolism's starting to slow down. Like your energy is dropping. Your workouts are your energy wise, and your workouts are starting to suck a little bit. And then you were like, won't I gain weight? And I'm like, no, of course not. And I explained it, but that when you lived in the realm of dieting for so long, and it's like the thought of eating more to continue to lose is just like,
it was mind blowing.
Yeah. But you were scared, were you not?
I was terrified. I didn't want to do it. And I think I fought you a bit for like the first 3 weeks of it. I didn't want to keep going.
Yeah.
And I was like, when are we going to be done? When are we going to be done?
Yeah.
Let's get back at it.
Well, and that was the big difference too, is what I remembered, I felt like something changed when I said, hey, if you can't bring yourself to eat maintenance for 4 weeks, what makes you think you're going to be able to keep the weight off forever?
Well, that hit a nerve, and I was like, wow, he's right.
So talk about that a little bit as you started, like, cause we're talking about, I mean, this is literally going against old conditioning, right? Like eating to lose and all this stuff. Like, where did that start to change where you're like, holy shit, what is this sorcery?
I don't know. Like, I just had to like, just throw my trust in you. And I just was like, he knows better than I do. This is like my first time going through this. So yeah, I just kind of had to go with it and drop what I thought and drop my old beliefs and just kind of blindly trust.
Yeah, I love that. So as far as like just your day to day right now, like with keeping your weight off and keeping your mental place where it's at, like, why do you think it's so easy right now? Like, cause again, like you've totally 180'd everything. So like, but like, it's even like every time, like on your check-ins, it's like nothing to change or crush it. Like there's nothing ever wrong. Right. So for you, what do you think makes this so effortless now?
I don't know. It's just, I've been doing it for a while now. I got it. It's under control. Like, I eat whatever I want. I just track it. You know,
Yeah.
I never used to feel that kind of freedom,
Yeah.
really. I used to think there was things that you couldn't eat. There was things you couldn't do, or you'd have to work your ass off later, right?
No, I get
And
that.
I don't believe that anymore. I know I don't need to. So it's easy. I don't have to think about, oh, well, if I eat this, then I have to go and do this or whatever. It's just, I eat what I want. I stay on my calories. I get enough protein and I'm good.
Would you say that like being on the other side of this now, it makes sense? I feel what I'm about to say, like I say this, but I feel like people really don't truly get it until they're in your shoes, right? Where it's the concept of how you maintain your weight loss is going to look exactly like how you lost it. Right.
Yeah.
Where,
No, I totally agree. Like this will be easy. Like I've just done it for 6 weeks and then I still lost like 2 pounds or something.
you still lost weight in maintenance. Like
Yeah,
we technically weren't in maintenance. We technically were in a smaller deficit, but like,
but I was full every day, like every day. There was days where I struggled to get there.
yeah. Well, and this is the truth. This is the super hard truth is most people going through this game, they think they have to like the thought of like and this is why I wanted you to come on again is because what you're experiencing is the normal, right? This is what day to day is. For most people, this is like never heard of before. They're like, wait, why isn't she starving? Why isn't she eating 1,200 calories? Why isn't like all these different things? Like, why isn't she suffering? Why isn't she working out every day? Why isn't she like a hashtag dieter? Why isn't like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's just, it's easy. Like when you learn to do it the right way and learn that there is nothing you can't eat, you just got to kind of pay attention. You can do anything in moderation.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of people don't think that way. They think there's good and bad foods. They don't realize that there's really nothing that's terrible for you. Just don't eat it in ridiculous portions. Like, don't be an asshole about it.
Now,
I totally was.
So let me ask you this then. So where did that change? Like, because again, like prior to us working together, you were in that boat, but then now it's this. Like, was it as soon as you lost weight while having like Taco Tuesday and beer? Was that where you're like, holy shit, this is like, was there a holy fuck moment, or where did that happen?
Yeah, kind of. Like, I think last April, I want to say, when I think I sent you the picture of me when I was having ice cream with my friend, and I was
remember
like,
that.
Whoa, like I really can eat whatever I want. I really can do whatever I want. I just like be aware of what you're doing. And yeah, that was a mind shift completely.
It's interesting you bring that up, because that is the exact reason why whenever like I'm working with someone or the team is on whatever, like fixing relationship with foods and all these issues, there's an exact science to it, right? It's like an X many step system. Like, hey, I have to get you to take foods you struggle with and lose weight with them, because as soon as it happens, your brain flips a switch. Because in so many cases, it's like the fear of heights. Like as soon as you get on the roof, or you jump out of a plane, fear of heights are gone, right? Because your brain has like irrefutable proof. It's a new neural pathway. Like, hey, I jumped out of a plane and I didn't die. New neural pathway is developed, right? Or hey, that wasn't that big of a deal. New neural pathway. That's what we're doing with food. Is you have the current neural pathway of food is bad, ice cream is bad, like low calories or whatever. But then when like blind trust, force yourself to go, okay, I'm just going to, in spite of being scared shitless, eat the ice cream, have the beer, do the maintenance period. And then your brain has irrefutable proof. Like you lost weight with ice cream in your hand. Like, like the picture, right? You went, holy fuck. Like,
I was like, how do I even look like that? My friend was like, yeah, you looked like that for a while. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's why this game is so much deeper, like than just weight loss. Yeah. Yes. Like obviously it's weight loss, but like we have to have the mind and inner game side if we want any semblance of success on the other side. Cause that's how we solidify this permanently. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still shocked as shit when I see pictures of myself. Like even today I took a picture of myself at the gym and I was like, look how goddamn skinny I am.
I about swiped up on I saw it on your story and I was about to say something, but I was busy doing something. But yeah, it's crazy. What's your husband think? Does he say anything about any of this?
Yeah, he said that it's been a massive change. Like everything about our relationship is better.
How so?
Like
If
there's
you don't mind me
still
asking.
things that we need to. There's still things we work on. Like
Sure.
I used to go from 0 to 60. I used to flip the hell out all the time about stupid stuff. And then the more I think about it, the more I was acting very much like my mom. My mom used to do that all the time. So I mean, like my mom committed suicide, so I started to be really worried that I was heading down that same road.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I saw a lot of things in myself that my mom did.
I get that. To be honest with you, like, well, I see that very much with like my dad. Because I do not like to say, hey, I'm like my dad. Like people will say like, hey, Jared, isn't like locally will be like, hey, isn't Greg your dad? And like, and it's one of those things where like, it's like, yeah, but like, I'm not like my dad, right? You know what I'm saying? Where, but like there are character traits I'll notice. I'm like, fuck, that was a dad response. Why did I say that? Why did I do that? You know what I'm saying? Where like,
oh yeah, definitely. Like there's a lot of things that I was seeing my parents' relationship mirroring ours, and I didn't like that. I needed to make a change. And I mean, they were very miserable together. I mean, it happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so things have gotten so much better with him and I. Like we are definitely much more like we were when we first started dating.
Love that.
So like we make the time to spend together. We laugh all the time now. Like all the time we're laughing.
He seems so cool. Like we've never talked, but like he
He's
seems
ridiculous.
cool as shit.
He makes me laugh all the time. He's like a big kid. It's awesome.
It's fucking awesome. Well, it's why I've always said it, where like when you change who you are, and not like don't just get a result, but like it's like who do you have to become to get those results? When you change who you are at a fundamental level, your character, your identity, how you respond to things, how you think, your identity, now you take that new you everywhere, right?
Oh, for sure.
It's like, yeah. I always word it like, let's say like a clean freak, every area in their house, in their office, in their dog, in their car is clean. But as soon as a clean freak drops that standard, now everywhere's dirty, right? It's the same thing with this.
It is for sure. Yeah.
Now let me ask you this. So the concept for most people of inner work sounds like terrifying, right? Like the concept of like, if I say, hey, let's do inner work, they're just like, dun, dun, dun. It's like Jaws theme music or something. But for you, it hasn't been like, it's very small levels, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I started out with just journaling, like the way you had said on your Instagram story, you know, start with gratitude and then just kind of writing how you feel. Right. And then I started trying to find wins and things that like I felt good about myself. And at the beginning, that was really, really hard. Like I didn't see very many wins. I didn't feel like there was very many things that I was happy about. And I struggled to get even 3. And then about 3 or 4 months later, I was getting a whole page. And now all I see is wins.
Mm-hmm. It's that whole reticular activating system thing, right? Where like,
oh, for sure.
And subtle plug. The last podcast I did was the RAS podcast, but it's the same thing, because the reason it was so hard in the beginning was because everything you were doing was coming from a place of self-deprecation, but also you literally programmed your brain like a computer that you should not see wins because you're not worthy of wins. But now you've 180 that on its ass, and now you see yourself as worthy and deserving. So now your brain just goes, all right, let's have them all. And it like finds them unconsciously, you know?
Oh, for sure. And now I look at pictures of myself and I see who I was when I was a kid. Like I was an athlete. I played basketball. I played baseball. I was good at both sports. And now I see the person that was confident and happy and just killing it at the time, you know? And that's who I am now.
I love that. I mean, that's super cool. So let me ask you this then. So do you still get like, I mean, I know the answer to all of these, but it's for everyone else. But like, so for you, do you still get triggered? Like even with as far as you've come, do you still get triggered?
Very seldom.
Yeah.
Like there's a few times where I have, and I take a couple of deep breaths, just there's been times even at work, because that's usually where I get triggered. But because I sometimes struggle with stupid people.
Yeah, same.
But so I'll just take a minute, take a couple deep breaths, and be like, this is what's in my control, what's not in my control. You know what? I can't control how they are, so who cares?
Yeah. Love that. That's
Doesn't matter.
Well, and that's the thing I think people forget is, well, number one, the fact that you do so much inner work ongoing, it keeps your triggers small, right? The biggest misconception is people think they're not going to get triggered, but like, even like in the position you're in, you still get triggered. I still get triggered. They may be seldom, or they may not be as consistent or as severe, but I think people forget we're always going to get triggered because we're humans and we're emotional beings. But having a strategy in a like, what I say, like an ammunition load to handle the trigger is a whole different world, you know?
Oh, for sure. I think it, like you said to me one day, like you can't, something about like, you can't stop the rain, but you can prepare for the storm, like roll up the windows. And that totally stuck with me for like,
I haven't said that. I haven't given that analogy in a minute. Like you can't stop the rain, but you can totally roll your windows up. Yeah.
Yeah. And that one totally stuck with me.
Yeah, it's true, because that's the thing is there are so many things we cannot stop. Like you cannot stop yourself from getting triggered. You cannot stop the shitty thing your parent is going to say, or that's going to happen, or the person that like rear ends you or keys your car or whatever. But you can handle it, how your response is to all of that, and how you go about it. You know what I mean? Like you can't, like, it'd be the most infuriating thing to try to stop the rain, but like I can't stop it, but like, okay, I can totally put my windows up, or I can totally like go back inside, or whatever the case is. So.
Yeah. And like, it was about 3 months ago, I got an fender bender in my Walmart parking lot. Old Ashely would have just flipped the fuck out.
Probably killed somebody.
I backed into a BMW, I think it was.
Oh, it's your fault. Shit.
No, it was totally, you know what though? It wasn't my fault. She came around the corner pretty quick for a parking lot, but whatever. Instead of freaking out, I was just like, oh well, shit happens. And she's like all like ready to go. And I was just like, just give me your information. Here's mine, whatever. Let the insurance sort it out. We're fine. And she came right down right away.
It's really funny is because it's really hard. So like people, we unconsciously mirror each other, right? But it's funny. A lot of people have a really hard time. Like, not obviously this isn't for every case, but if one person is emotionally stable and you have that level of energy and certainty, and someone else is a fucking chaotic mess in that kind of situation, it's really hard for them to stay like that. They might still be higher than you, but like when you're chill as fuck, it's really hard. They feel like an idiot. Like, have you ever
I think that's what happened. Even my husband is like, man, a year and a half ago, you would have just went off the deep end. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And he's like usually the super calm guy. So
yeah. It actually reminds me a lot in jiu-jitsu when I first started. So like for those listening, I'm a blue belt, and I've been a blue belt for like a year. So I'm a little like I still suck, but like I'm considered as one of the first advanced ranks, right? So where most people in jiu-jitsu go wrong is they make up in what they lack in skill with just brute effort and energy, and they're like, brah, like a fucking bull, right? Well, it's funny. I would notice this would happen if I'm like going against my coach who's way better than me, or when I was starting out and I sucked, I would just go so fucking hard, but I would feel so frustrated and ignorant going with someone who's so skilled and so calm. And I'm like, brah, trying to fucking kill them. And they're nose breathing. I actually used to have a jiu-jitsu coach. He would whistle when we rolled. Like just like old man whittling a stick, like whistling, like joyous, like whistling. I'm like trying to fucking destroy him, and I'm failing. And he's just like, and taps me. And I'm just like, you didn't even sweat. Like, what the fuck? And it's the same kind of thing with like this, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway. All right. So kind of wrapping up, I'm curious, what advice would you have for other people who are in your shoes? They're like, okay, yeah, I am old Ashely. I get triggered. I have been engulfed in diet culture for as long as I can remember, from my mom putting me on a diet when I was 13. Like, I don't even know where to start. So like, what kind of advice would you give to someone in those shoes?
A lot of people, honestly, and I send a lot of people to your email list. I tell people, like, seriously, just calm down, take a look at what you're eating, and take a look at how you're feeling about things. I tell everybody to journal.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody. I'm like, you sound like you need to journal.
You're bitter.
Like, yeah, you're upset right now. You should probably take that to a book. And if you're really struggling with losing weight, look at what you're doing. Like, are you working out of I hate everything about me, or are you working from I like who I am, or whatever? Because that's a huge difference maker. I like who I am. It makes it so much easier now.
For you though, I'm curious, like on that, how do you, for you, how do you change that? Says, I just can't flip a switch of, I love myself. So how, in your opinion, how do you start to do that? Because you've done it, right? Was it like, how do you do that?
I think, like, it took a while. Like, it was definitely through, like, gratitude journaling, and I had to work at it. I had to really work hard to find things that I liked about myself at the beginning. But the more you do it and the longer you work at it, like, it's easy. And like, I had expectations. I thought I was going to be done working with you like last March.
Yeah.
I was convinced I would be done. No worries. And here I am, like, a year later almost, right? Yeah. And I mean, I'm probably pretty close now, but I mean, I still have things that I'm working on. So
yeah, no, absolutely. It's and I love what you said, that when, like, advice to somebody else, because there's a lot of layers to that. You're like, when you said, I tell people to go to my email list. And so, but the reason is because they need new information and they need better mental inputs. Right.
100%.
And then
the amount of people I have recommended to your email list, to your free group, is like astronomical.
I appreciate that.
Because I'm like, this is, they all want to know, well, how did you do it? Well,
yeah.
I got new information and I quit chasing things.
Yeah. No, that's such a big deal. Well, and then it was, there's the self-awareness piece where you said, like, well, look at what you're doing and what we can do better. But like, that's the thing, is most people don't want to look at what they're doing because ignorance is bliss, right? No one wants to own the fact they are hiding their emotions with food, or they are not moving enough, or they're overeating. But as soon as you own up and go, you know what, where can I improve? Well, now you have the buffet of, like, life in front of you, right?
Well, and I had to take a whole lot of ownership at the beginning. Like, even just applying to work with you was a lot of ownership, I felt like. And I felt like, if I'm going to do this, then I better just commit, and I better commit hard, because I hate where I'm at. So,
well, and I think, to be honest with you, that's a big thing no one thinks about, is how terrible where you're at is. I have a whole YouTube video on it. It's my motivation hack, is when I don't want to show up for myself, I do nothing but flood myself with what it's costing me staying stuck. This could be in my fitness, my relationships, my business, my friendships. It doesn't matter. But when most people, it goes back to ignorance is bliss, where most people don't want to really see how bad it is because there's ownership involved now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's taking ownership of how I felt and where I was at was that was a game changer too. Yeah. Like, I just decided that I've had enough and I need to do something different.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I love it. Well, girl, I can't believe it's already been almost 40 minutes. That's awesome. We've had so many nuggets in here, and I really appreciate you hopping on.
No problem.
All right, guys, thank you so much once again for tuning in to today's episode of the podcast. I really, really appreciate it. And I to be honest with you, it sounds kind of corny, but I don't take it lightly that out of all the places on the internet you could be, or anywhere in your life you could be, you're choosing to spend your attention here with me, or me and my guests and things like that. It means a lot. And I just want to say thank you. Now, let me throw this out there too, because here's the truth. I want to help you. And I also know there's a very special type of person who, number one, listens to my podcast, but then number two, listens to this kind of content in like an episode like this in the podcast. So here's the thing. If Ashely's story resonated with you, if it made you feel like, oh, wait, maybe there is hope for me, or you know what, all the stuff she was saying really sounds like, my life, you know what I'm saying? I want to help you. And here's the thing. If if you go from this podcast, and I have a link to apply for coaching below, and I don't push coaching very often. I don't like ever want my content to come across as pitch heavy or anything like that, but I want to make you a special offer. I want to give you an opportunity to get the help you need. If you listen to this episode and you go, wow, I think I want to get the help from Jared or Jared and his team, what I want you to do is apply for coaching. But here's the thing. If you do, and you mention this podcast, I have a very special gift for you. Okay. I'm not putting this anywhere else, by the way. Like, it came to my mind listening to going through this episode and getting ready to send it out. And I wanted to just offer this just right now. Like, I'm not putting this anywhere else. So what I'm willing to do is if you apply for coaching, because that's the thing, our coaching does require an application, because we only work with those we know we can help. If we think you're a lost cause, or if we think, we can't help you, we're not going to take your money, because that's like super unethical. You know what I mean? Sorry if you can hear my dogs in the back, but that's just how it works. So if you mention on your application that you listen to this episode of the podcast, I want to give you my 180 Academy totally for free. If you guys have been watching my content, I've been talking about my 180 Academy quite a bit. If you're not familiar with it, it's like my big course. It's insane. And a lot of people are going through it. It's going over really well, and it's great, but it's also normally like $2,000. Like, if you went to a link right now, it would cost you $2,000. But if you sign up for coaching, you get started with us, but mention this podcast in your application, I'm going to give you the academy, the whole thing, for free. So you literally get lifetime access totally for free, even after you're done coaching with us. So that's the offer I have for you on the table. Like I said, I'm not putting this anywhere else. Or anything like that. So that's the offer, just because I like to reward action takers, especially if it's something like this that hit home and you're like, wow, I want a story like that and I want my situation changed. That's what I'm offering you, because I really want to help you and I just want to make it an even more valuable experience for you. So that's what's on the table. The link is below to apply. But like I said, if you do, just mention this podcast in the application and we'll go from there. Otherwise, I hope you got a lot out of this, and I'll talk to you soon.